Welcome to episode 3 of Celtic Sagas and Law. I'm your host, Martin Vaughan Watkin. In this episode, I'd like to speak about the Welsh Arthurian legends. Now, Arthurian simply means anything to do with King Arthur. Now, Welsh Arthurism is the original which all others are built upon. I'd like to do two stories now that are linked to this tradition that are not that well known. The first story is King Arthur and the Golden Bell. Now, there are several versions of the story, two Welsh ones that I know of, one in North Wales and one in South Wales, which I will be telling you, and one Scottish one which I have looked up but can't find any reference to. It's just one of those things in the back of your mind that you remember. So if you know the story or a link to it, if you could let me know, that'd be great. Thanks. So a story is set in South Wales near the Neath area, an area called Dinas Rock, which is a large rock outcrop that's very popular with climbers and is in what's known as waterfall country. If you Google Neath waterfall country, you'll see some amazing sights and it's well worth a visit. So, story starts with a drover. Now, a drover was a person from back in the day that used to herd animals from the Welsh and Scottish and other Highland areas and drive the mainly cows, but there was geese, lambs, goats, etc. Basically any herding animal to market in mainly the English cities. Now, the drovers were well regarded because you could imagine if you're a farmer living in a highland area, you can't grow arable crops, and the only thing you can really farm are animals and grass pastures. And you would hand over what was technically your entire year's earnings to one person, and then you would trust that person to take them to market and bring back your year's wages. Now, our story starts with a drover that was on his way to London to sell the cows, and he cut himself a ash staff from near Dinas Rock. He went to London, did his business, and he was coming back, as you can imagine, weighed down with gold. As he re-entered, it was not far from the Dinas Rock Neath area, he met a Englishman. Now, the term Englishman doesn't necessarily mean a Englishman as well. During this period, anybody that was not Welsh was known as English. And this strange Englishman, to him, that describes in the story as a wizard, asked him, "Where did you get that staff?" Now, as you can imagine, he was suspicious of this query, so he told him, and he said, "Will you show me?" So, becoming more suspicious and cautious, he says, "Why?" He said, "I'll reward you with gold." So the drover thought for a minute and said, "What have I got to lose? I can always fight him if need be." So he showed him exactly where he had cut the staff from an area near some bedrock. So the Englishman took the staff and banged it against the rock 3 times, and to the drover's amazement, the rock parted. And there were some steps leading down. So the pair of them went down, and they saw, lying on stone slabs, many knights, lying on the slabs holding their swords. As you can imagine, a lord in a church, and the way they were buried, if you can picture that sort of statue, that's the way they looked. And around everywhere was gold. So he said to the drover, "Be quiet, pick up as much gold as you can carry, and then watch out for..." And all of a sudden the drover stood up and his head clanged against a golden bell which rang out. All of a sudden one of the knights sat up and said, "Is it time?" And quickly the Englishman said, "No, Lord, not yet." So with that the knight went back to sleep. So they emerged with the gold. Tapped the rock again 3 times, and the rock closed. The Englishman said to the drover, "Right, here's some gold now. You be set up for life." And with that, the Englishman left. So the drover, as you can imagine, lived the high life for a few years, and then all of a sudden the gold ran out. So he thought, "I wonder." So he went back and he cut himself another staff, did the said, tapped the rock again 3 times, went down, collected the gold. And again he tripped and a spear leaning against the wall fell over, and it clanked against the bell. Again the knight stood up and said, "Is it time yet, Lord?" And the drover said, "No, Lord, it's not time yet. Dim amser eto." So with that the knight went back to sleep. Again the drover came out, tapped the rock, the rock sealed. He lived it up again for the next few years. This is the time he thought, right, last time now I'll go down, get enough gold and I'll be okay. So he went down again, did the same, went down the steps. Again, he hit the bell by accident. And the knight stood up and asked, "Is it time yet?" "No, Lord, it's not time yet." But with this, the other knights awoke, and they beat the drover severely and crippled him, and then threw him out of the cave. And no matter how hard he tried for the rest of his life, he could not re-enter the cave and live the rest of his life as a beggar in the town. Now this story is, like you could say, an alternative ending to King Arthur and the story of him going off to Avalon, the Isle of Avalon. It's an earlier tradition. And that's one story. Now, the second story involves one of the knights of King Arthur called Owain. Now, Owain you can also find in the Mabinogion, which is a collection of early Welsh stories. Now, in this story, Owain was riding through a valley in West Wales, and he had a great thirst. So he came upon a small village and asked one of the villagers, "Is there any way I can get a drink?" And he said, the villager said to him, yes, Lord. There's a well just outside the village, with fine fresh fountains at fairy spring, so be careful. Once you've taken a drink, make sure you replace the capstone. And Sir Owain was slightly on the arrogant side and said, "Don't tell me what to do, peasant." So he rode up to the spring well and he took off the capstone, and he drank from the water, which was refreshing and re-energised him. So he sat down and said it was a pleasant day next to an oak tree, and he fell asleep where he dreamt of running water. And when he woke up, he noticed that the village was gone, and in its place was a lake that he had, because he had not replaced the capstone, he had drowned the village. So in great sorrow he rode around the new lake 3 times, and with that he replaced the capstone and rode to join King Arthur in the cave at Dinas Rock. Now, today you can visit this lake. It's just off the A48 village called Gorslas, and it's known as Llyn Owain, and it's in a nature reserve, which is well worth a visit, and it's renowned for its wildlife with migrating birds and the like, and they have a visitor centre and an observation tower that you can visit. As for the drovers, obviously when the railways came, they slowly died out, and but most of the drovers' trails can still be found in the highland areas, and are very popular these days with walkers and mountain bikers and other people that like adventures, horse riders and so forth. And you can visit these drovers' trails and walk them, and they are unchanged as they were back in centuries. So I hope you enjoyed these stories, and I shall be doing more of the lesser known Arthurian tales in later episodes. If you've liked the Facebook page or subscribed, thank you very much, but if you could sign up and share the links, I'd be very grateful. If you wish to know more about me or contact me directly, I am at www.martin-the-druid.webs.com. Thanks for listening, and I hope to meet you again in episode 4. Thank you for listening.